Grace Pitts. Grace Putney. Brighton Quintana. And Kylie Shawls. Thank you.
And I apologize, but we missed one, and I'm so sorry. Lily? Tao? Sorry, Lily.
We'll get it. You guys down to go up and get your picture taken. Oh. So go up and stand behind on the deli Dallas. Emily Tao? You said Emily Tao? Lily talking about your pen?
No.
I did.
So if you guys can hold up your certificate.
Let her know that we'll send her a certificate. We'll send her a certificate.
And is I need two of you. I think that's everyone. Please, thank you. Okay. All right. Congratulations. 1, 2, 3. Nice picture. Any more pictures you guys want to take? You can come up here if you want to take pictures.
We are not done. I found out there are more awards. Oh, we have lots of stuff. These next awards are actually very exciting. I have the pleasure and the joy to work with fabulous people, and it's nice to see our leaderships and our principals, our vice principals, our coordinators, all receiving recognition and awards across the state. So the first one we want to recognize is Mr. David Jones. Mr. David Jones, you need to know what he's being recognized for, folks. He is the Principal of the Year from the California Continuation Education Association. Principal of the Year. We also need... Oh.
Are you going to do additional awards for this one?
I'm just going to...
Okay.
I'm just writing down. I would also like to bring up Mr. Dwayne Triplett from Yuba-Sutter. I think we all could recognize last year was hard. Last year was really hard. And Dwayne had the opportunity to lead Yuba-Sutter School, our school that is the furthest school up in the northern far reaches of the country, with little to no internet. And through his work and the dedication of his staff, they found ways to work around the internet issues. And the state of California has awarded Yuba-Sutter School the Pivotal Practice Schools Award from the California Distinguished Schools. But we're not done yet. We also have AXA awards for our leadership. We have, representing the Confidential Employee of the Year, our very own Ange Hale. We have an Educational Service Administrator of the Year award, our Coordinator of Innovation, Miss Alicia Wright. Our CTE Administrator of the Year, Miss Jamie Larson. She's about this tall and blonde. Our Nutrition Service Administrator of the Year, Miss Amber Watson. And this one we stole. He was given Technology Administrator of the Year from another district. But we'll claim him, Mr. James Lohman. We'll now turn it over to our regular program.
Yeah, I don't think we can hear it. Okay. Let's let these guys leave first. Okay. As our friends are exiting the room, thank you for running away, drawing attention to it. All of you online who see these people, just kidding. We had our retirement banquet earlier this afternoon, so we just want to, for the record, call out the names of those people that have offered years of service to the district and are retiring this year, and we'll save one big round of applause for the end. So first off, we have Mr. Frank Bertolin. Next, Teresa Bradley, Miss Gloria Castro, Susan Cordier, Nancy Davis, Kelly Essery, Tammy Forrest, Mr. Pete Jeffrey, Mr. David Joyner, Carol Kelly, Randy Losh, Timothy Malone, Jackie McComb, Miss Lisa Mejia, Lisa Rarucha, Deborah Reynoso, Miss Ricky Nagel, Vicki Sampson, Perry Sutherland, and the one and only Kathy Woods. So congratulations to all of our retirees.
Now we have opportunity for employee organizations to address the board. Marysville Unified Teacher Association.
Good evening, Mr. Davis and rest of the board, Dr. Israni, and all of those that are here with us this evening. First of all, Angela Stiegel, President, Marysville Unified Teachers Association, and also wanted to acknowledge, we've all received our bargaining updates, but acknowledge the fact that we have finally settled the fiscal or financial part of negotiations for this school year. So appreciated that we could get that done. We are hopeful that we will be able to complete the contract language and contract articles for this year as well and get this year's negotiations done and in the book. But also we are very hopeful that we can get next year's negotiations done in a very timely manner and not have to spend quite so much time outside of classrooms and outside of people's obligations here at the district office working on that. So hopefully we'll be able to do that quick and easy to the point. Also, kind of shifting gears a little bit, we know that last week was the National Teacher Appreciation Week, and we know that tomorrow is California's Day of the Teacher. And so along those lines, we have a lot of appreciation and gratitude to share, and many thanks, starting, of course, with our retirees. I, at one point in time, had the thought today that I was going to sit down and add up all the years of all the retirees. And then I decided I was out of fingers and toes, and it was going to be a really big number. And so we do want to thank all of our retirees. We're looking at hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years of dedication to education, to Marysville Joint Unified, and to the students and families of our community. And that is greatly appreciated, and we cannot underscore nor overstate our appreciation for them and for all they do, and wish them the very best in retirement. Additionally, it may seem kind of odd. Oh, also with the retirees, I forgot. I did want to thank the superintendent and the board, and don't take this personally, but most importantly, Chef and his students at Lyndhurst for the retiree celebration that was earlier. And I do know that you always thank the people in charge of food the most. Sorry, Dr. Israni and the board, but the food was really good, and that takes a lot of work. I've done small dinner parties, so this big shindig, amazing job that they did and so much appreciated, and that's an amazing program that is doing great things for students, and so we can't thank Chef enough for that. But also, like I said, it may seem sort of strange also within teacher appreciation and all that, but we do also want to thank our students. We have, and I know I may be biased, I've said it before, but we have the best students around. I know there may be teachers who will take umbrage with this, but I have the best students there are. I won't name any names. But we have amazing students here, and students that the teachers in this district work hard for every day, and not just on school days. And so we do want to thank our students. They are gifted individuals. They are young people that make us proud every day. And within that, I also want to thank, of course, the teachers. We have 500 teachers in Marysville Joint Unified School District. 500 gifted, talented, dedicated individuals who give their all, not just 183 contract days a year, but 365 days a year for the students in their care. And we do this for not just their education, because it has become apparent over the years, and most apparent here lately, I think to a lot of people, but the teachers in this district are a lot of things to our students beyond just teachers. We do all we can, oftentimes after hours, and oftentimes on days that we're technically supposed to be off. And we run a lot of programs, a lot of extracurriculars. We do anything and everything we can for our students because we treasure them, we respect them, we adore them, and we know that they are the future. But someone asked me yesterday, they said, hey, you know, Teacher Appreciation Day is going to be Wednesday, right? And I said, it is. And they said, hey, what can I get you for Teacher Appreciation Day? And I thought about a lot of stuff. It's really weird because initially a couple of things I thought of are like office supply stuff. So you could tell teachers were just all about office supplies. So my first thing was like, well, there's this really cool flamingo stapler I've been looking at. But then when I really started thinking about what would I really, really want, not just for me, but for all of my teachers for this, it's really something that you as the board and the superintendent can give us. And that is not more programs, more things for us to do, more obligations, more time and hours spent on doing more and more and more. Because I will tell you, we are just about at the end of our ropes as far as what we can do and what we have to give. And so I would like for the teachers in this district to not just have things taken off their plate, but to not even have them cooked up and put on the table in the first place. Because what happens is it may not be, you know, on my plate today. Maybe you take it off of my plate or the teacher's plate today. But then since you've already cooked it up and it's there, you want to put it on my plate next week or next month or next year. Don't even cook it up in the first place. We don't need it on the table. We don't need it on our plates. Because what I would really rather for my teachers, that is not only can they give the 110% to their students, but also the 110% to their own families. You have teachers here in this district who are amazing parents, grandparents, brothers, sisters, aunts, uncles, spouses. They are amazing family members, and they need to know that they don't have to choose every single day between being a great teacher and a great mom, or being a great teacher and being a great husband, or between doing this student activity and being at this school event. And so allow your teachers that time. Allow them to get that balance in their lives because, like I said, they're amazing teachers. I can vouch for it. I've seen it. I work it every day. But they are also amazing family members. But sometimes we need your help as the board, as the superintendent, to be able to achieve that balance and parity in our lives. We don't need more new programs. We don't need more things to do. There are still only 24 hours in a day. Allow us to have time at school with our students and that family that needs us, and then allow us to have the time to be at home with our families who need us as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have operating engineers, local union number 3. California School Employees Associations number 326 and 648. Association of Management and Confidential Employees. Supervisory Unit. We're going to move now to presentations. We have Loma Rica Elementary and Foothill Intermediate.
Thank you. Good evening, trustees, superintendent, Dr. Azrani, members of cabinet, and to my staff who is at home watching online. Thank you. I'm so very excited tonight to talk a little bit about Loma Rica and Foothill Schools. And I know you've heard several versions of this, so I'm going to kind of quickly go through our SIPSA information and then get on to the stuff that I think makes me smile and hopefully gives you a good idea of what's going on in our schools. All right, so I'm Ashley Vetty. I'm extremely proud principal of Loma Rica Elementary and Foothill Middle School. And as you know, the single plan for student achievement, or the SIPSA, is a blueprint for our goals and how we budget our funding. I realize this is probably not the most interesting information, but I think really it kind of gives just a brief highlight of what's important. This is awkward because I'm looking at something different than what's up there. Sorry. All right. So we use the comprehensive needs assessment to develop our plans. And I will say I'm very, very fortunate at both sites to have extremely involved and really dedicated families, which also make up my site councils. So we've got a lot of input and people who give a lot of thought and dedication to helping with this focus. So that, in conjunction with our staff, we're looking at lots of things as we make these decisions about how to budget our funding. All right. So basically for this slide, this is kind of the classic, like you have to know where you are in order to know where you're going. And so we're using data to drive our instruction. And this week we're CASP testing at Foothill. And we've had several middle school students, 13-year-olds, really more than ever, seem to be asking why they have to do this. And so one of the things that we've talked about with our students is how this data drives what we're going to do in the next year. So we don't look at individual student data very often. We're looking at bands of data, and we're looking at themes so that we know where to put money and how we're going to kind of refine and drive our instruction next year. And I gave a student an example, and it probably is more relevant now more than ever. If we have a whole bunch of sixth graders who are not able to do a certain group of standards, then we're going to continue to do that next year, and we're going to make sure that they have that standard. So this is just a slide with the different metrics that we're using to gather that data. All right, now I get to focus a little bit on Loma Rica first. What I will say is smaller school equals smaller budget, and we're used to seeing really big numbers, at least 6 digits typically. But what I will say about a small budget, it really creates very strategic and very thoughtful planning and spending. So a lot of times people don't have to think so hard about how they're going to get projectors or who they're going to fund out of this money. But we do. We have to be very thoughtful and very strategic. So I will say I feel like our site council and our staff has done an excellent job of figuring out what goals are important to us and then how to proceed. So with these goals, I'm not going to read them, and I know you have a copy in front of you, but I will just say we're focused on the basics. We're looking at academics and intervention. We're looking at attendance, behaviors, engagement, and then we're looking at how to engage our families and kind of the whole child outside of school. That was probably one of the hardest things, and I don't want to talk a lot about the past because we're in a pretty good place right now, but that was probably one of the hardest struggles, especially with really tight-knit schools, not having families on as often at the beginning of the year. So you'll see a slide later in my presentation of our open house, and having families back on campus in a very welcoming and engaging way was really nice. All right, so some of the highlights of our Goal 1 strategies, and the goals for Foothill and Loma Rica are super similar. Again, it's just the academic, the culture and climate, and then the family engagement. So with Goal 1, most of what we get at both schools goes to funding people. And I will say that's the biggest bang for our buck. And I think small schools, typically we kind of, and this is my 2 principal partners up in the hills, a lot of times we feel like we're kind of running on a skeleton crew, and when you lose somebody, it's huge. It's huge for a small school. So making sure that we can fund and use our limited funding to fund kind of the biggest and most impactful thing for all students and families. Let's see. The rest, I would say, is the direct services in the classroom. And this year, something that we did at both sites with part of that categorical was replacing projectors in the classrooms. And we just talked about this in one of our strategic planning meetings about technology. And it's really an ongoing investment. You've got to stay up to date. So we replaced some projectors in classrooms that were from 2013. It's pretty old. So that's something great that's happening right now. All right, Goal 2, our culture, climate, and student support. We focused a lot on PBIS and the Tier 1 kind of fundamentals of PBIS. And I will say, coming back, having students at all different levels and in all different places, kind of socially and emotionally, we really focused on making sure that kids felt good and well-adjusted coming back to school. All right. Early literacy at Loma Rica is probably one of our biggest goals. And so we've really focused this year on bringing in those students who missed a lot. We didn't want to, and one of the biggest fears, I think, of all of our teachers is promoting students who don't have those basic and early phonics skills onto teachers who are not specialists in teaching the early phonics skills. So we've got to hammer those in at the young age so that when they get up to where they need to be, they're reading at grade level. That's also kind of sparked our intervention plans for next year. And now I just have some photos that I'm going to kind of click through quickly. What you're looking at there is our Friday flag ceremony where we award students every Friday. We kind of bit off of Covalod's Walk of Fame, if you've ever attended that. Ours is the Mustang Stampede, so very similar. Loma Rica's done great work up until this point with PBIS, and so this year we're really kind of trying to hammer in the fundamentals. We have some folks who are retiring who are really integral to the school. We have people who are moving out of state. So we wanted to make sure those tier one, the things that we're doing are routine and they're just part of the culture of the school. So they're not lost as the adults kind of move in and out. We want to make sure that the fundamentals are there. I will say that slide, I wanted to just mention our parent groups again. We've got a lot of support and help. This was the open house. Awesome turnout, probably one of the most enjoyable open houses that I've attended in the 21 years I've been in education. It was pretty fantastic. All right, so Foothill, I'll let you read these for yourself. And again, similar goals for Foothill. And also people being a big priority of where our categoricals are going. The Foothill Site Council has also been extremely flexible. We've been shifting and moving all year. That's what I mean about that strategic with our budget. And we're going to, even though it's really late in the year, we're opening up a student support position is the goal because we know that's something that we need. And then culture, climate, that student support specialist will also be helpful in there with our culture and climate. And if you remember a couple of board meetings back, I talked a lot about the college and career fair. That was a big highlight. I didn't want to let that go without bringing it up. And then I also added some photos just really to kind of give you an idea of what it's been like on campus. And I think in the beginning of the year, I was just talking to a board member before the meeting started about, at the beginning of the year, we're talking about our goals and where we want to go. At the end of the year, which is where I am now presenting, I'm looking back on this amazing year that we've had. And I remember as I was trying to think last week and the week before about the things I wanted to highlight, I was looking through these yearbook pages is what they are. And we have had the most incredible year despite the challenges. And as you look through these photos, you can see that we did it. I mean, we did it. We had staff that were willing to put in the late nights, and we've had support from our families. And I'm just going to click through these quickly. I do know that the time just ran out, but because I had 2 schools, you told me I had a little bit more time. All right, so I'm going to skip ahead to our STEAM slides because I want to highlight, we called this kind of full steam ahead. And early in the year, Dr. Azrani approached the Foothill schools about investing in some STEAM experiences for students. And with her help and the help of a team, we've been able to start that already. We called this year 0, next year is year 1, and we have kind of a 3-year implementation plan. And here, this just shows 2 field trips. This was 8th grade girls at Yuba College, a STEM field trip, our 6th grade from Foothill. You know a lot about the Yuba Water Agency field trips with Circle on the river. The day that we sent the 8th grade girls away, we brought Site Logic to Foothill. I don't know that anybody else has been able to do that. Thank you, Alicia Wright, for your help. But they talked a lot about their solar projects and had the boys working on some pretty incredible things. And then, not to be left out, our K-5 team at Loma Rica has jumped in hard. They're going. They're ready for next year. And they did this. They organized and built a program that they're going to continue to develop on into next year. And I wanted to just end with, I don't know if that's going to play. It doesn't have a play button, Russell. It was really funny, but that's okay. I'll just tell you about it. That was a little video clip of a pedal-powered smoothie maker. So Site Logic brought that, and that was 3 of our middle school boys with, you can see Mr. Bertalin in the background, kind of back by the door. He's one of our retirees. But it was a really fun project. If you've never seen a smoothie bike, Google it. It's pretty fun. And I thank you for listening. Thank you for your continuous support of our schools, and I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you very much. Are there any questions or comments from the board?
Actually, I would just like to say thank you to you and your staff at both sites. I know having 2 sites makes it a little more work for folks, but you and your staff do a tremendous job there. So
they absolutely do. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, I just remember the pictures showing up in the Field Democrat from your career college week, and it's just phenomenal. And I know that from what I've heard, it's led by your parents, folks up there that are trying to help their kids. So congrats on that, and keep it up.
Thank you.
Yeah, Ashley, thank you. This is your second go-around with the parents in the foothills, and you did a wonderful job for the first time. I'm so glad that you're back, and look forward to seeing you at graduation, but thank you for all you do.
Thank you. I'm so glad to be back. All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Now we have Yuba Gardens Intermediate. Trouble.
So while this is getting set up, we did it slightly different through a video format. But before we get to that video, I just want to recognize a few people in the audience. I have my administration team here, Miss Christy Beamer and David Gray, assistant principals. And big shout out to all the warriors watching on stream right now. And with that, please don't cut me off because it's a little bit longer than what you got. And I don't know if Russell has it or if I do. Enjoy. I think. Good evening, Dr. Asrani and members of the board. My name is Jim Hayes, and I am the very proud principal at Yuba Gardens Intermediate. I'm finishing my 3rd year as the principal here, with this being the only year that we went wire to wire with students on campus. It's been great having everybody back this year, and it's definitely where they need to be. Let's start with the mission and vision of the school. Back in 2019, the staff went through multiple revisions and collaboratively landed on the following mission statement. We are committed to encouraging, empowering, and teaching our students to reach their full academic and social emotional potential through a partnership with our families and community. After creating our mission, we focused on our vision of what we want the school to look like. We envision an environment where all students are given the guidance and support from a collaborative staff to achieve at high levels academically while continually growing socially and emotionally. Students are encouraged to demonstrate kindness, courage, confidence, creativity, and enthusiasm as they prepare for success in high school and beyond. Notice some key words in here: support, collaborative, growing socially and emotionally, and success in high school and beyond. At Yuba Gardens, we will receive $290,498 in Title I allocation next year and $194,908 in targeted monies that we will use to support all of our students on campus. So here is the plan. Our goals are targeted and simple. We want to increase English and math proficiency levels by at least 5%. Ongoing professional development through the PLC process to make first instruction as good as possible. We want to decrease chronic absenteeism and suspension rates by 3%. Continue to implement effective elective pathways that feed into high school. Making sure that we're providing interventions to all of our English learners as well, with a goal of 75% of those students moving at least one performance level or meeting the reclassification criteria. Goal number 1 is to increase academic performance. We are going to do this with a 3-pronged approach. First, we're going to add additional paraprofessional support for our students and teachers in the classroom. Second, we are going to continue to provide additional hours to our teachers to collaborate within their PLCs outside of the contract day. And third, we will attend the PLC Institute this summer in Sacramento to continue to work on the school and district initiative of professional learning communities. The PLC model is a huge part of what we do on campus. In 2019, before the world ended, 80% of our teachers went to the PLC Institute. This year, there was a major focus on creating common formative assessments in each PLC. Next year, we'll work on using the results of that data to inform our instruction in the classroom. This is where the real magic will happen as we discuss best practices and share ideas. There's a very high level of commitment on campus to the PLC process, and I'm excited to continue this work in the coming years. Goal number 2 is all about creating an environment at our school that addresses the emotional and safety needs of all of our kids. We use our categorical monies to employ our student support pass officer, who's a jack of all trades and works with our most challenging youth daily. We also use Suite 360, which is a program that has restorative practice modules. We use these as often as we can in lieu of suspension as we look to educate students first instead of punishing them. The other major way that we strive to create a positive school climate is with our PBIS reward system. PBIS is a major focus of what we do at Yuba Gardens. If we do not have a positive environment for kids to learn in, everything else is much more challenging. We achieve this by having a reward system where students accrue points from staff members when they are caught doing the right thing and exhibiting pride. Pride stands for present and prepared, respect, integrity, determination, and etiquette. We continue to look at different ways to employ restorative practices in lieu of suspension or other punitive consequences. As said previously, we currently use Suite 360, and we will be looking into restorative practices conferences for next year as well. An exciting established program that we have on campus is our PLUS program. PLUS stands for Peer Leaders Uniting Students. This is a student-led program and gives our students a voice and allows them to be leaders on campus in a positive way. There is one PLUS forum every month, and it is quite powerful to watch the students leading younger students as they navigate middle school. Our third goal is to prepare our students for high school with college and career readiness. This year we have focused heavily on revamping our wood shop that was not viable over the course of the pandemic. We also have a music program that is second to none. This year's band earned a superior rating at the Chico State Music Festival. This is an amazing achievement coming out of distance learning over the last year and a half. This year, we also purchased a class set of iPads for our art class to start creating digital art. This will give students exposure to 21st century art skills as they get ready for high school. It is important to vertically align these programs with the high school. This way, our students can learn foundational skills in middle school and have a leg up when they reach high school and join a CTE program that they're interested in. We will continue to support these programs as students feel connected to school when they are involved in these types of programs. We are so proud of what we have been able to accomplish this year and look forward to even bigger and better experiences for our kids. Goal 4 is to build a system of supports for our EL students. This year, we have added an EL facilitator, which has added a huge benefit to our students, as there is a targeted focus on this very important group. This person and some of our paraprofessionals push into classes to support our EL students. Over the last 2 years, we have also created 10 sections of designated ELD to support our students. These targeted interventions were not in place a few years ago and have been critical to support this population. So how are we doing? Here's a quick overview of some climate data. Here are the suspension rates over the last 5 years at YG. In the 2017 school year, we had a suspension rate of 20.4%. That means 1 out of every 5 students were suspended at least once during the school year. The next year, it dropped about 7 points to 13.7%. In 2019, we continued our downward trend to 12.3%. As you can see, the next year didn't count because of COVID, but moving into this year, we currently have a suspension rate of 9.1%. This is good progress, but certainly not a number that we are satisfied with, and we will continue to work to find other ways to support kids so we can keep them in school where they need to be now more than ever. Here's a great graphic to see how our efforts in the classroom have improved as well. In 2019, we had 1,052 referrals out of class. Another way to look at this is that that's 8.3 referrals a day. These are referrals where students are sent out of class for everything from disrupting the learning environment to showing defiance towards a staff member. This year, through 3 quarters, we had 419 referrals, or 3.1 a day. As far as total suspensions go, you can see on the bar graph on the right that in 2019, we had 221 total suspensions, and this year we had 138 suspensions through 3 quarters. So an analysis, as we look at the data over this 2-year span, is as follows. Yuba Gardens has seen a 60% decrease in overall referrals. This can be attributed to a number of factors, but I believe that the work in the classroom with our teachers' first-time instruction is a major reason. Our teachers having engaging, interesting lessons that students feel connected to helps reduce behaviors. This offense is the best defense when it comes to keeping students in class where they belong. We also saw a more than 37% decrease in total suspensions over that same time span. Again, this happens for a variety of reasons, but we believe if students are engaged in their learning, feel connected to the school community through sports, music, woodshop, art, plus leadership, and so much more, that they will want to be on campus and continue to grow into productive young citizens that are ready for high school and beyond. None of this happens without a dedicated and conscientious staff. We just finished Teacher Appreciation Week and School Lunch Hero Day. It was such an honor to celebrate all of our amazing educators, and we look forward to doing the same with our rockstar classified staff next week. And finally, just a huge thank you to all of the educators on Yuba Gardens campus. The work and love on display every day is evident, and I am so blessed to be working with such an amazing group of folks. Let's finish the year strong and continue improving year after year. Thank you for listening to this presentation, and remember, it's a great day to be a warrior.
Thank you very much.
That's it.
Are there any comments or questions from the board?
So, Mr. Hayes, I would just like to say thank you to you and your staff. for keeping kids in the classroom. That can only benefit their education. So everything that you're doing to keep kids in the classroom is going to better their outcomes. So thank you.
Thank you.
And I am just impressed with the progress you've made, and I'm sure the data is going to look better next year. But I think you've set the stage for your staff and your students that they're here to learn, and that's what we're all here for. So I think you've set a great template for a lot of others to look at. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Sometimes it's hard to read emotion through a video, but I think my last comment would be, I love the school that I'm at. I love the people that I work with, the kids that I work with every day. There's a tremendous amount of talent on my campus, and I love being at Yuba Gardens. So I don't know if that came through on the video, but I just wanted to make sure that I told you all that. Love my school. So thank you.
I just wanted to make one comment. The audience might be thinking as to why we have principals presenting on video. It's very often that we do presentations in this room, and the only people who hear us are maybe the people in the audience and maybe 10 more online. The work that the schools are doing, and yes, what our teachers are doing and administrators are doing, classified staff is doing, and most importantly, what our students are doing, needs to be captured so that the community who's checking out our schools can get a feel of that. And you don't get that by just visiting a website. So these videos are going to be live on the website for each of the school sites for people to listen to. And it forms a repository every year of the school plan, the school performance, and so on and so forth. So be patient and understand the bigger picture. I should have said it before, but I do want to say this beautiful presentation and the emotion he just expressed would have been finished once we finished the board meeting. But now we can see it and be able to share with the community. Thank you, Jim, for doing that. Appreciate it.
So now we have a presentation from Core Construction.
Thanks for making it. Yeah. Good evening, trustees. My name is Matt Wade. I'm the Vice President of Core Construction in our California region. Next to me, this big guy, he's the project manager, Jordan Kuchke, with Core. He's on site full time. We also have our architect, so Beck out there. So she, if you have any questions, just ask her. We have a short 45-minute presentation tonight. I'm just kidding. But I'd like to appreciate, Dr. Fall, your comment about the videos, the stimulating the community, because that's really what I'm excited to do tonight, and it's just a small little piece of what we could provide at the end of our projects for the district and also the community. So thank you for inviting us out here. I'm going to give an update on the Arboga Elementary School project. We're going to go through the schedule on where we're at with construction progress, also covering the budget. We'll talk a little bit about the community, of what we've done in the past, to what we're doing now, and what we'll be doing in the future. And then we have a short little video as well that shows some progress photos and whatnot. So we started about a year ago in June 2021 with the first phase, and the first phase was really important to get done during the summer, so the students, the staff, when they got back, they had all the parking, they had bus loops, they had everything ready to go for that school year. We were able to finished that milestone successfully. In fact, we actually increased the parking lot in size and gave a little bit more of the program earlier than expected. So that was a good victory last summer. That was about a 2-month duration. And then we went into phase 2, which was actually building the classrooms, the 2 classroom buildings and the multi-purpose building, associated site work and track. And that's all going very well. We're on schedule. We got about 2 months left. We have the summer crunch coming up, and we have about 1,500 hours of construction left. So we're looking really good on that. Unfortunately, we didn't have a lot of weather, but that also helped us out during construction. So it was kind of fortunate that we were able to get through the winter months as we were building and drying in the buildings. The team has done a great job in managing the budget, managing the cost of the project. Jordan and Zoe, they've worked out a lot of issues ahead of time and in partnership with our trade contractors and the district reps. We've been able to provide everything within our GMP, so we're right on track with our budget and our original projections. This is what's really fun, is really getting the school, the community involved. A picture here was our beam signing, which is our topping out party. That's a glue lamp beam. It's like the last large beam member of one of the classrooms that we sat. We invited the community. Some of you were there. Everybody signed their name on it. It got erected in the building, and that was just kind of a cool little milestone for not only the staff out there, but also the community. The kids, they all loved it too, right? So that's just, we're going to have another one once we get done with construction. We'll obviously work with the district and have some kind of ribbon cutting and opening ceremony. I think another thing about this is I got in touch with Mr. Waltz at Lyndhurst with their construction class. And CORE wants to participate in providing any resources, materials, maybe some funding, and some expertise with their program there. So thank you for offering that up. I know that our architects are also interested in partnering with that program, and then some of our subcontractors too. So we really want to promote the youth in the construction trades arena, because that's probably one of our biggest issues right now is labor going in the future. So and there's a lot of good growth in construction, especially coming in very young. My son didn't go to college. He went right in the trades, put on his bags, and he's a superintendent at 27 years old, owns his own home and starting a family. And it's just it's a really viable, career. So we love to participate in those high school programs that have those construction related classes or CTE programs. So, and that moves into just a short little video, hopefully. Sorry for it's so choppy. We have a new drone pilot. No, I think it's technology, but we do have a new drone pilot and a new drone, and this is something that we want to do every month. We definitely want to do a big show at the end, and then that's something else that we could provide and put on your website so the community can see that. We are the lease-back contractor for Covalod Elementary School too, so we're going to be doing a lot of drone flights over there to get the community engaged, involved with the startup of that project. So again, thank you. Appreciate inviting us up here to give a progress update. Any questions?
Thank you very much. Are there any questions for?
Actually, Matt, I would just like to thank CORE and PBK and is it Jordan? Yes, sir. Okay. For all the work that you're doing there. And I really want to thank Tammy and the staff at our bogus school that's been putting up with this for a long time. But but I think it's going to be well worth it. I think it's kind of like that Christmas gift that you keep seeing it getting built, and then pretty soon you're going to get to play with it. So I thank you all.
You know, I've been with this core project since the beginning, and man, you guys outdid yourselves. You really did. I even see a semblance of a track. Yeah, that was my pet peeve. It looks tremendous. I mean, I'm just flabbergasted. I didn't think it would look that good, and I really am proud of it. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, you guys have done a great job staying on budget too with inflation and the cost of concrete, steel, lumber. It's pretty amazing that you were able to keep costs down to the original agreed price. So great job there, and appreciate all the hard work.
Thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you again.
All right, thank you.
Now we have a presentation for student supports.
Good evening. I'm Jolie Critchfield, board members, Dr. Azrani, cabinet. It is a lot harder to record a presentation than you think. I just want you to know this is take number 252. We actually had a really cool video that I like to use. It's called Time Bomb, that has a lot of the statistics of dropouts and why this department and the work that we do is so important in making sure that our kids receive the support at the school site so we can get them engaged in learning. And so here is our presentation. How do I get it started? Oh, you're going to start it. Okay, then we'll. Superintendent Dr. Azrani, cabinet, and members of the audience, thank you for being here tonight. I am Jolie Critchfield. And I'm Dr. Amy Murray. Mike Matos is a nationally renowned education researcher, and we're starting our slides tonight with national statistics from Mike Matos. Every 26 seconds, a student drops out of school. Over 1 million students drop out of school every year. On average, a high school dropout earns $20,000 less annually. That is $10,000 less than a high school graduate, and over $36,000 less than a college graduate. The United States leads the world in incarceration rates, surpassing China and Russia, and over 80% of the incarcerated population are high school dropouts. 85% of all youth in the juvenile justice system are functionally illiterate. High school dropouts are 63 times more likely to be incarcerated than college graduates. 3 out of the 5 people in the United States prisons can't read. 70% of those will return to prison. A high school dropout will cost the United States taxpayers $292,000 over the course of his or her life. School dropouts cost the United States $240 billion annually in social service expenditures and lost tax revenues. Who are we in MJUSD? Now that we've seen what the numbers look like on the national level, let's look at our local level data in Marysville, starting with our student demographics. We need to know our Marysville demographic information so that we can better serve our students and families. Notice the numbers of students who are identified as foster youth, homeless, or on an IEP. Here are the crime statistics for Yuba County. Red arrows point to aggravated assault and violent crimes. Many kids who were home during COVID experienced domestic violence in the home or crime in their neighborhoods. The 5-year graduation rate in MJUSD is 88.2%, which is close to the state rate of 90.1%. However, about 11.8% of our MJUSD students are not graduating, so we have a lot of work to do. Dr. Becky Bailey states, a disconnected child is a dangerous child. Unfortunately, students who don't have a school safety net are often caught by gangs or the judicial system. This drawing represents that all too often happens when we are unable to get kids connected to school. When we look at the 11.8% of students who don't graduate, another risk factor is mental health. Just this year, we had over 215 risk assessments completed on MJUSD school grounds. These are students who have had suicidal thoughts. And these statistics from kidsdata.org show how many children in Yuba County 110 in the year 2020 have been hospitalized for mental health issues. Notice that the numbers continue to rise year after year.
The number of red boxes on this slide show MJUSD students who are at risk per statistics provided by the Yuba County Office of Education. Our homeless and foster youth are particularly vulnerable, as shown by academic scores, chronic absenteeism, and graduation rates. This is why we track attendance data using our RAW-WE attendance program. When we know which students are missing school, we can intervene quickly by reaching out to the home.
All of this data that we presented underscores why we need to implement multi-tiered systems of support, or MTSS and MJUSD. In an MTSS framework, we support students' behavior and academics. We emphasize the importance of Tier 1 support, which is preventative and proactive. For example, all schools are developing PBIS programs this year as part of Tier 1. Students who need more support in Tiers 2 and 3 are also able to access supports, such as therapy, as needed. As needed is a key concept in understanding the MTSS structure. For example, students who are learning to read will need various levels of support. Some students will need more support, and some will need less. Just as students need more support with reading, some students need more emotional support. The MTSS framework challenges us to meet students' emotional needs. This is why we have 104 students who are receiving therapy through a partnership with Wellness Together. These are students who have been identified by school psychologists as having the highest level of need in Tier 3.
All too often, our students are not at school because of trauma, which impacts brain states. We call the red brain the survival brain. Research shows that learning cannot happen when the brain is in survival mode. That's why we are introducing conscious discipline classes in MJUSD. Decades of research shows that we have to address the emotional state as a precondition to learning. This is why we have posters as reminders to staff and students that we can't learn in the red brain. That is why we need tools such as breathing and co-regulation to get back to that state of calm, to access the green brain, the executive state, for optimal learning.
Our intermediate school students are using the Wayfinder SEL curriculum this year, and this video shows you how students are using Wayfinder at McKinney.
Wayfinder makes me feel empowered and that I could set my mind to anything because you get somebody's listening to you, listening to your voice.
A lot of students just come in with a smile on their face when in reality they internally are struggling.
Before Wayfinder, it's definitely difficult to see who needed the extra time, who I needed to check in with, and who I needed to develop more of a relationship with. But with using Wayfinder, that's completely eliminated that problem.
We walk into class, we take our Chromebooks, we go onto the Wayfinder program website.
Wayfinder has changed the way that I feel about myself because it makes me more aware of my mental state. I'm like, okay, how am I doing personally?
What I get from the information on Wayfinder is the ability to kind of see through the smiling faces that walk in the classroom.
Wayfinder does a great job at recommending certain activities for the needs of each class. I really enjoy the lessons where students can get up and interact and talk to each other and kind of build that community, build that relationship in the classroom.
When my teacher usually checks up on me, I feel appreciated because sometimes I do feel a little bit low, and when I know someone can kind of see, it makes me feel better.
The biggest thing I like about Wayfinder is it gives you real-time data. It gives you data I can look at, I can analyze, I can have students complete a lesson, I can look at the lessons, which has given me a lot of great insight into the students, how they're feeling, how they're doing, social and emotional.
The Wayfinder app kind of allows me to see how they're feeling and easily respond to their needs and their wants from me as their teacher.
Because we have identified so many needs, we have to be strategic with how we organize our student support system in order to leverage our resources most effectively. This year, we've organized a system of behavior supports that include SEL lessons at Tier 1, student study team meetings at Tier 2, and Wellness Together therapy at Tier 3, among other supports.
We are monitoring the impact of our MTSS efforts to support SEL and behavior through updating systems such as Beyond SST and processes such as SARB, which are being implemented at school sites across the districts. Students who have struggled with behavior receive Tier 1 and Tier 2 supports.
PBIS, or Positive Behavior Interventions and Supports, is an approach that we're using to create positive school culture that provides a foundation for our MTSS efforts this year. We're thrilled that 7 of our schools have applied for awards recognition through the California PBIS Coalition. Behind the scenes, we have a team of people who champion our kids. You may not know that our outreach consultants have made over 900 plus family contacts and initiated the SST process for 500 students, or that counselors have conducted 215 suicide assessments and run over 65 small group counseling circles.
When students are not getting to school, we also conduct home visits. We have logged over 500 home visits just this school year. The Student Attendance Review Board is a Tier 3 support. SARB connects MJUSD families with agencies and community partners such as Health and Human Services, law enforcement, victim witness, behavioral health, probation, child protective services, and the district attorney's office. At SARB, the Honorable Judge Gibbons works hard to motivate students and families to go to school. This picture shows a student who is getting a certificate for improved attendance. Out of the 427 MJUSD SARB cases, 65 cases have made it to court, and 63 of those students have received certificates for improved attendance.
The best thing about working at MJUSD is that we can make a difference. All of these MTSS efforts are underway, addressing adult and student behavior first, so that all of our MJUSD schools can realize the vision of academic achievement and success for all.
The hardest part about working in MJUSD is that we need to make a difference every single day.
The number of red boxes in this slide show MJUSD students who are at risk, per statistics provided by the Yuba County Office of Education.
No, it wasn't the end. Our splicing must have, something happened to the recording. Okay, so anyway, we just want to thank the board. I will say thank you so much. This is Dr. Amy Murray. She has helped with being strategic with our services. So with the 20 outreach consultants and the extra counselors that were provided with our SEL curriculum and things like that, we've been strategic in making sure that our foster youth are served by our school counselors. They meet with them weekly to make sure that they're engaged and they get the supports that they need at school. Our homeless and our kids on SARB contracts or attendants are monitored by our outreach consultants so that they have a caseload as well. So I just want to thank the board for the work and the expenditures through our LCAP to do that. I do want to say on that last slide, the purpose of that last slide with that beautiful young lady, she said that I could speak on her behalf tonight. I met her freshman year. She was refusing to go to school. And it took school counselors, school administration, outside resources, all of us working together to get back on track. And she is now finishing her first year at Sonoma State. I'm proud to call her my daughter. And she said that she's going to be writing a book all about her life, and it's for sure to be a bestseller. So thank you, and we'll open it up for questions.
Thank you very much. Very nice presentation.
Well, it thanked you guys at the end, so we'll make sure we get the right one. Thank you. This is Dr. Amy Murray.
Are there any comments from the board?
I would just like to say, Jolene and Amy, your charge is much like Yuba Gardens was doing, is to keep kids in the classroom, but not only in the classroom, but providing that emotional support so they're going to be very much more successful while they're in that classroom. It can't just be a body there. It needs to be a body that is willing to learn. And in order to have that emotional support with all of the things that you tie together, it's incredible. So thank you.
Thank you. And I just want to say one more thing. I just want to say there's a lot of those people that we support in the LCAP are all of those working behind the scenes. And I know the teachers do a fantastic job, but if the kids are not in the classroom, they don't get that fantastic, class with culinary arts and stuff. So there's a lot going on behind the scenes that we don't necessarily see when kids are walking the stage. So thank you to all the support staff who rock it every day, who do those home visits, who meet with those families and provide the best possible care and education for the students of Marysville Joint. So thank you.
Thank you again.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you for your ongoing support of all of our students and all of our programs and services that we're offering. Thank you to the board and trustees.
Our last presentation for tonight is alternative high school programs.
Okay, I would like to say first and foremost, thank you to the Board of Trustees, Dr. Asrani, Cabinet, and members of the audience for this opportunity to share our alternative programs with you. We have a lot to cover here, so I do want to recognize publicly too, Ms. Jolie Critchfield. You have been amazing for many, many years doing your job and your role. That entire presentation, it connects with my students that I serve in the at-risk populations. You will be sorely missed, but you have an exciting new role. But I also want to publicly recognize the people in the audience that are here. If I can have my alternative staffs stand up, and the staffs that are at home right now watching as well. They work extremely hard, and this year has been very difficult, and we've been stretched really thin, so I really do appreciate every single one of you and all your efforts you've done this year. So with that, let's go ahead and get started. And what do I push play at?
Superintendent Asrani, Cabinet, and members of the audience. My name is David Jones, and I am the principal of alternative programs within the Marysville Joint Unified School District, where we aim to remove barriers and build bridges for all of our students and community. This presentation will explain our current alternative programs in the 2021-22 school year and where we would like to go into the future with our program offerings. We will focus on three main areas. First, we will discuss the credit deficiency problem that we face as a district as we pull out of this pandemic and how we will aim to address it. Second, we will explain the plans to restructure our current alternative education programs to best support our students. And third, we will explain the need to reduce the number of credits needed to graduate out of our continuation high school sites. We currently serve 730 total students within alternative education. If we view each school from left to right, we can see our current program offerings. We have one continuation high school that is WASC accredited and currently has a graduation requirement of 220 credits, which is standard across the board in MJUSD. This school site serves approximately 160 students consistently throughout the school year who are credit deficient juniors and seniors. It is a half-day program and 2 sessions of students who are served over a 3-hour period on site. Students can earn credit in 6 different ways, receive college and career guidance, and have an opportunity to take college courses on campus. All students have the option to graduate from South Lyndhurst or return back to their comprehensive sites to graduate once their attendance and academic goals have been achieved. Moving one school to our right, we see our Community Day School program. It is a 6-hour seat time program for students in 9th grade through 11th grade who are either on SARB attendance contracts or on suspended expulsion behavior contracts. This program serves approximately 50 students, but they cannot graduate from this program. The goal is to rehabilitate the student, build good habits, and transfer them back out to their school of residence. If we move over to the far right, we can see our Abraham Lincoln Independent Studies program. That is WASC accredited and currently serves kindergarten through 12th grade. Currently, we have approximately 520 students enrolled. This year, because of AB 130, independent studies had to be offered to all families. This has caused our independent studies program to explode in numbers. In the next slide, you will see that independent studies currently this year has the highest percentage of credit deficient students in our entire district. At the end of this school year, students who are credit deficient or are not meeting contract will be transferred to their appropriate seat time program where they are best served. This program also has the graduation requirement of 220 credits, which is standard to graduate, because it is intended to be an online independent option that mirrors the brick and mortar option at the comprehensive sites. It is designed for self-starters who are independent thinkers. The failure rate in credit deficiency throughout the country, state, and MJUSD has skyrocketed since the pandemic. This slide highlights the credit deficiency issue that we face here in our own district. Starting at the far left, you can see the formula used to identify these students. If a student is behind 15 or more credits for their grade level, they are considered deficient. As of today, we have 685 credit deficient 9th through 11th grade students in our district, and only one continuation site to serve them. Also recognize that Abraham Lincoln Independent Studies currently has the highest percentage of credit deficient students. Luckily, this year we have AB 104 that reduced credits to the state minimum for our seniors who were negatively affected by the pandemic. This has allowed our seniors to have a fighting chance to earn their high school diploma. In alternative education, it is all about building relationships and serving our at-risk students to give them hope, opportunity, and guidance to reach their goals. In future slides, we will discuss ways to address this credit deficient issue. Over the past 5 years, we have taken fifth-year seniors back on a contract to complete their credits and earn their high school diploma. The graph you see here communicates the number of non-grads each year over a 5-year period that are given a fifth year to complete their credits. This is due in large part because we did not have an adult education program. There have been 137 total students over the past 5 years. Please keep in mind that these are spots that were taken from other credit deficient juniors and seniors within our district at the continuation site, as most of the fifth-year seniors attended South Lyndhurst High School. 86 of our 137 fifth-year seniors earned their high school diploma by returning back to school within MJUSD. This equates to roughly 63% of all non-grads. On our dashboard, they are not considered graduates, but at the very least, we have 86 more students who have a high school diploma. The addition of an adult education program within our district will open more spots each year at the continuation sites and ultimately lead to a higher number of diplomas within our community. So now that we have some background to the problems that we face within our community of learners, let's discuss 4 keys to address it. 1, let's fully support and value alternative education by allocating support and resources to our most at-risk population. 2, we need to restructure our alternative programs to fit our current situation and student need. This requires us to close our current CDS program that serves approximately 50 students and replace it with an additional continuation high school housed under the South Lyndhurst High School School Code, which is already WASC accredited. This will give our district 2 alternative opportunities on each side of the river to give our credit deficient students hope and opportunity to graduate and earn their high school diploma. 3, our comprehensive high schools can be more creative by building in credit repair and recovery within the school day. Make it a requirement and not optional. Lastly, we should explore the option of implementing a credit reduction for any senior within the continuation high school program that is mathematically unable to graduate as a senior. This safety net will be explained later in this presentation. The new proposed alternative program offerings for 2022-23 would look like this. Starting from left, we would have 2 continuation sites with identical approaches housed under one school code, South Lyndhurst High School, that is WASC accredited. The South Campus would serve the attendance population of Lyndhurst High School credit deficient 11th and 12th graders. The North Campus would serve the attendance population of Marysville High School and foothill areas that are credit deficient 11th and 12th graders. This will double the amount of credit deficient students served. The graduation requirement will remain the same at 220 credits required. However, I do propose that a 180 credit option would be available with the continuation programs only for those credit deficient seniors who are mathematically unable to attain the 220 credit requirement. This would be applied only as an as-needed basis for students who have less than 150 credits earned within their senior year. This will be explained further in a future slide. DBL independent studies will remain the same at 220 credits earned. It is important that we change the perception of independent studies within our community, as it is not a place for credit deficient students. It is an online independent replacement of the brick and mortar option at the comprehensive sites. Students who attend the independent study program should be disciplined independent learners who are self-motivated. Not all learners are the same, and we must provide a variety of options for our community learners. We will also add an 8th through 12th grade blended model at the Dobbins Elementary site for students who live in the upper foothills to have a partial on-site option. We will have one teacher on this site to provide daily lab intervention and academic support. In addition, there are plans to provide on-site PE, school-based activities, and in the future, potentially add a CTE course option. We will continue to offer online independent studies for grades 1 through 6 with daily live interaction via Zoom and weekly on-site appointments. The overall alternative plan explained on this slide considers our district needs while providing a variety of equitable options for our community. Students in all areas of our district will be given opportunity and options no matter their situation or where they live. Justification to close the current Community Day School site to open another continuation site can be seen within this slide. Unfortunately, the current Community Day School is tied to a 6-hour day and has limited flexibility to serve more students. This site is currently averaging just over 70% attendance and only serves 50 students. Next year, all school sites within the district will remove barriers for their SARB students and retain them at their own school of residence. The same can be said for the students on behavior contracts. Adding an additional continuation will triple the amount of students served compared to keeping Community Day School, and we can now equitably serve credit deficient 11th and 12th graders on each side of our district. Graduation rates will increase as a result of having 2 continuation sites and reducing the number of credits needed to graduate to 180. The fact of the matter is that MJUSD requires more credits than what the state requires, and more than what A through G requires. I am proposing that we simply trim the fat on our graduation requirements for our most at-risk seniors that have less than 150 credits earned. This will provide our students a fighting chance to graduate with a WASC-accredited diploma. For most of our at-risk youth, they have been dealt life situations and circumstances that were out of their control. It is our duty as educators to meet them where they are at, guide them to navigate through their hardships to still meet the same end result, which is graduation. This proposal will not negatively affect our WASC accreditation at South Lyndhurst High School, and it will not lower the standard. The yellow highlights on the left are the 4 areas that we would be modifying as a result for our most at-risk seniors. 10 credits of other science is a district requirement and would be eliminated. A through G requires physical science and life science, but not other science. Careers and health are no longer required and would be eliminated off the transcript. We would also eliminate 20 elective credits from the transcript, leaving 20 to complete, as you can see on the right-hand side. Leaving 20 credits will not penalize our specialized learners, such as students on IEPs or second language learners in ELD that require support classes. All support classes automatically go into the elective category and will still contribute to their graduation progress. In the end, we remain A through G compliant, WASC accredited, and help our most at-risk populations in earning their high school diploma. Students who want to return to the comprehensive sites to graduate will remain on the 220 track as well. Most South Lyndhurst graduates will graduate on the 220 track, and those potentially non-grad students would be placed on the 180 track on an as-needed basis. In the end, I hope the proposed restructuring of alternative education within Marysville Joint Unified School District will positively impact a larger number of students and begin to tackle the hardships that we face as a community. The reality is that our students and families need our help to educate, guide, and shape our youth to be positive contributors within our community and world. We have a unique and diverse district that covers a very large territory. The needs and hardships vary and depend on many factors. There is no one-size-fits-all solution. It is our responsibility to do this hard work and think creatively outside the box to address the issues that are in front of us. Thank you for supporting our alternative school programs. I will be available to take clarifying questions, and thank you, and have a great evening.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Are there any comments or?
My oldest daughter is a graduate of Abe Lincoln, senior year, and she went to Chico State and got a teaching credential too, so I know it works. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions or clarifications?
So I would just say, Mr. Jones, I know transportation is always an issue, it seemed like, currently at the South Lyndhurst site. Hopefully the district's going to be able to provide transportation to the students that are going to be able to or need to come to the north. And I guess thinking transportation overall in our district, we need to figure out a method to be able to do that. So hopefully we can work on that, because I do think the students, it's our responsibility to try to get those students to the site, and it's so easy to if I don't have a ride, I'm not going. So hopefully the district can work with that to make that happen.
Yeah, and on that note, I do have confirmation from Greg Taylor in the Transportation Department that we have that piece already worked out for the 2 continuation sites. So they would have transportation to get to school in the morning as they get dropped off at Lyndhurst and Marysville. They will get picked up in the afternoon, just like Lyndhurst and Marysville high school students. And there will be a midday run that will bring kids on the midday to the afternoon sessions and picking up those kids who have finished up in the morning sessions. So the midday, there's no conflict because the morning runs are done and the afternoon runs have not started.
Great. Help me, Julie. Didn't Galloway used to give our kids? They did, didn't they? Thanks. And I'm old, but
yeah, and a good chunk of, yeah. Yeah, a good chunk of our kids do ride the transit too, but next year, yes.
Great presentation. Congrats to your staff. Good job on the presentation. I thought it was really well done. This is long overdue, the whole reformatting, restructuring. I did have one concern, and I'm just going to kind of throw this out there. I noticed that on the transcript, on the original one, you eliminated that 5 credits of careers. And I understand with the whole reasoning behind that. I'm hoping, I'm thinking you've probably already addressed this, but maybe just to clarify, on the new transcript, there's 20 credits of electives. I'm hoping there's some kind of career element in there so that once they get that diploma, they're out the door headed to a job.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm glad you brought that up. So what we do on the early release days is we build in college and career readiness workshops. So that's one piece. And one of the other components of elective-based course would be the careers course that would roll into the electives. But we found that it was really important that we make this equitable for our special learners, those specialized learners and the learners with IEPs, as well as our ELD students with support classes. That automatically goes into the elective category. We want to make sure that it works for their graduation progress.
So the question I have is, if this is approved, it would be implemented in the 22-23 year?
Yes, absolutely. And again, we want to make sure that we stay on the 220 track. I want to make sure I highlight this piece too, but an as-needed basis for those seniors who mathematically are not able to have a chance to graduate, that's when the 180 track would kick in and have as an opportunity. As we can see with the 685 current 9th through 11th grade credit deficient students, and I suspect that that number could potentially rise at the end of this semester.
Any other comments or questions?
So I had one other, Mr. Jones, about our expelled students that our plan is to go to T.E. Matthews, and I know a lot of our students attend there now. And with T.E. Matthews being a community program, if they ever get full, what are we going to do?
Yeah, so we faced that issue already towards the end of this school year, and they became maxed out in full, and we've been able to take those students on independent studies, as well as I think next year we're looking at different creative ways that we can prevent some of our expulsion numbers, in that we can do site-based independent studies to work with some of these kids that are having behavioral blowouts at the school campuses, but keep them connected with their school resources in their school to get their academics. So that way we could prevent potential expulsions. And again, suspended expulsion contracts. You know, I've been in this district for over 21 years, and we would keep our students at our school sites on suspended expulsion contracts and build in elements of supports within those contracts so that they could stay at our schools. Now, if they violate those contracts, that's when we go down the expulsion path. But we want to try to curb those expulsions as much as possible, as you saw in the Yuba Gardens presentation with the other means of correction.
Well, when we had APEC, help me with this, T.E. Matthews routinely, if not filled or not, if they didn't like the kid, they shipped him to me. And Julie knows because it was just me and Bobby Vardell, remember that? I'm just letting that, so we're not fooled with that. T.E. Matthews just emptied when they didn't like a kid. And
they don't do that now. They have a really good program.
okay, I didn't know. Like I said, I really age myself. Do you? Okay. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cloud the presentation.
They do a great job. They do keep our students. They have not returned any.
Thank you, Mr. Jones.
I had just one other, I guess, comment or question, Mr. Jones, with regards to the Dobbins site and our independent study usage there. And it seemed like I heard earlier that is one of our sites that has good connectivity. Just thinking about if students are going to be at home in those areas trying to access the online materials, I guess it's going to be a case by case to figure out how those students are going to be supported through the internet.
Yeah, and on that note too, I mean, we've been tracking, we've had about 20 families on independent studies up in that area right now. And they've had really good success so far with the hotspots, and we've used a variety of different hotspots, but it is a case-by-case situation. And also for the Dobbins campus, having it available for on-site where the connectivity is much better is one of the thought process with that, to support that. But I did talk to Brian Williams today and on this very same topic, and he stated that it would be a case-by-case situation in which we would work with. So yes, that's the connectivity piece on the Dobbins.
I did notice it says we're going to provide transportation up there for those kids that want to come and get support on site. So I think, again, that's very important.
Yes.
So I just want to say thank you, and thank you to all your staff for coming tonight. You guys do a fantastic job for our kids, so thank you all.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Now we have updates from the superintendent's office, business services.
Hi, good evening. Yes, so the business services and operation departments are busy. They're busy winding down the year. They're busy planning and preparing for projects for the summer and the programs that we're offering to our students. And they're also busy planning for next year by building the budget for the 22-23 school year.
Thank you. Education services, personnel.
So for the personnel office, it's obviously hiring season. We continue to remain busy. There'll be a few introductions of a few key folks later on this evening from the superintendent. But other than that, we're just going to leave it at that's our update for tonight.
Thank you. Superintendent?
I just wanted to give a quick shout out to the Ed Services team. As I mentioned, they've been pretty much flying solo this year and doing a phenomenal job and truly just astounding the work they've achieved. And so I want to thank Rocco for setting that pace and trusting his team and the team to carry on with little supervision. So thank you to Ed Services. For my update, I really want to thank our retirees for the work and the dedication to our district. Many of them I had a chance to meet in the classroom, see briefly, but today I was able to shake some hands and really thank them for their dedication to the community and to our district. So that's astounding. Also, our students and chef and the work they did with the food, that was so phenomenal. And to be able to celebrate our children and their talents is absolutely something that makes us smile, right? So to do that. And yes, tomorrow is the California Day of the Teachers, and last week was the National Week of the Teachers. And we did ask, thank you to Jennifer especially. I want to call her out and thank you on that. If you remember, today is a second read of the board policy to recognize and do recognitions for sites. So we'll be able to, with your vision, thank you, Jennifer, be able to provide schools much needed resources. And we've asked every principal to lay out something big for the staff on Friday with thank yous from us, Cabinet and the Board of Education, and to be able to give them that treat. So I think all principals are planning something big for the site. So I know we'll go to as many sites as we can, but if we cannot, please know we'll think of you and just know that we love you and we thank you for everything that you do. And the same goes for Classified Week, which is happening this week, and the work that they do is superb. Also, I do want to say that I did have a good visit with WASC at Lyndhurst High School. Great job, Bob, and your team. We heard some great comments even before the WASC. They had read your report. And so we thank you for your leadership for taking the school site to a very good place. On that note, I'd like to just thank everybody and know that we are counting down to the end of the school year. I do have two people sitting in the audience. I'd like to introduce them. So tonight you will be approving our new Assistant Superintendent of Education Services, Mr. Trujillo, Jay Trujillo. I have a comment that his assistant superintendent made about him. He said, "What for? You're taking Jay? I was going to take Jay with me when I become a superintendent." So he was very complimentary of him and had some wonderful things to say, including his superintendent right now. And then, of course, sitting here is David, who comes to us as a principal of MHS High School. So David Vasovich. And thank you for being with us, both gentlemen. Thank you for selecting and choosing to join the MJUSD family. There's a lot of choices out there, and we hear that every day. But the point is, when you join a family and you choose MJUSD, you actually chose the best. We're a little biased, and we're doing some great work here. And with your leadership, we'll get even better. So thank you.
Now we have approval of the minutes, approval of the April 26, 22 minutes. Are there any additions or corrections that the board would like to make in the minutes?
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a
motion.
All in favor, say aye.
No, you have a motion.
Yeah, well, we had
Anybody against the minutes?
We have Allison Hasty seconded. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, 7-0.
One abstain.
Oh, okay, we have one abstain. Glad to see you here.
I'm glad to be here.
All right. Now we have the consent agenda. And are there any items we want to pull? We do know of one that's under 14.2, certified reassignment. We are pulling Alicia Wright from that certified reassignment. Are there any other items the board would like to pull? If not, do I hear a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve by Allison Hasty. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Randy Rasmussen. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Passes 7-0. Then we move to new business. New business superintendent, 16.1, complete the first read of board bylaw 9220 governing board elections. And there is a correction that needs to be made. It was overlooked that Glendale was the school district. It's Marysville Joint Unified School District.
Want me to clarify? Okay, I wanted to clarify. We did a lot of research as to the updated language for this bylaw, and we were able to find it from Glendale Unified. They were crisp and to the point, and very much in line with what we think the board policy should be. And so at some point in the edit, we left out the last sentence. It had the Glendale name still there, so we did take it away from them, from that document. We'll edit it for the second read.
Thank you. Is there any staff discussion? This is our first read. Are there any questions for the superintendent? Okay, we move down to 16.2, approval of employee contract assistant superintendent education services. Do we have any staff presentation on that? None? Okay. Do I hear a motion to approve by Frank Crawford? Is there a second? Second by Jeff Boone. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It's approved 7-0. Then we have 16.3, approval of employee contract assistant superintendent personnel services. Are there any questions for the superintendent? If not, do I hear a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve by Frank Crawford. Is there a second? Second. Second by Doug Criddle. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 7-0. Then we move to education services. This is the 17.1 presentation and complete the first read for policy high school graduation requirements.
We do have a presentation video for you tonight, and I'll be able to answer questions afterwards.
Good evening, trustees, Superintendent Asrani, members of the cabinet, members of the audience. This is Amy Stratton, Director of Curriculum, Assessment, and Accountability. This will be the first read of Board Policy 6146.1, Graduation Requirements. We're asking the board to review our graduation requirements in 3 areas: the traditional diploma, the alternative diploma, and the adult education diploma. Our students have individual needs, and their own journey towards adulthood will differ from each other. In order to provide equity for our students, we need to understand that every child may have a situation in their lives that put them at risk of not graduating. It is our goal to ensure that all students in MJUSD have the opportunity to complete their high school diploma. By having a variety of options, we will be able to set our students up on a path to college and career. When looking at the board policy for the traditional diploma, you will see the addition of language around grade remediation and dropping a course. This addition will help define how students can increase their GPA, as well as define timelines for dropping a course. Also, current Ed Code requires the district offer students a variety of ways to obtain credit completion. Since the last time our graduation policy has been updated, a few more options for credit completions have been added, such as some college courses and independent study. When reviewing the math requirements, students will need to complete integrated 1, 2, and 3, or an equivalent third-year math course. The last change was made is the removal of career technology requirement, which is a 5-credit course. MJUSD feels that with the robust CTE programming available to students, the need for a separate careers class is no longer necessary. In the next section of the proposed board policy will apply to alternative programs, specifically South Lyndhurst. We are asking the board to authorize a 180 credit diploma, which will be available to students who meet the qualifications for this diploma. This policy will not be applied to all students. Rather, it's an additional pathway for students who are the most at risk of not graduating. There are times that we have students that have had significant life events that has interrupted their education. For example, students that may have started high school, left the country for a year, and has returned. They are significantly short of credits. Or students who have had extenuating circumstances that have derailed them in school before their senior year, which has caused the students to be considerably deficient in credits. These significant events have the potential of creating a situation where a student may decide to drop out of school. In order to better serve our students and to support them as much as possible, this policy will allow alternative school principal the flexibility to offer seniors who are mathematically unable to graduate with 220 credits an alternative pathway to a diploma with reduced credits. Traditionally, when students are credit deficient at the end of their senior year, they have three choices: remain in high school for a fifth year, obtain a diploma through an alternative path such as adult school or GED, or drop out. From what you've seen in Mr. Jones's presentation, in 2021, we had 36 students return for a fifth year. These would be the students that, if an alternative diploma were available, would have potentially met the criteria for not mathematically being able to graduate with a 220 credit diploma. Also, when considering who should return for a fifth year, we feel it is important to reserve the fifth year senior option for students with an IEP. MJUSD does not want any student to feel like they need to drop out of school. They should never have that option. We want to ensure our students are well supported through a thoughtful pathway so that we do not have students who feel that they have no other choice but to drop out of school. We are able to provide this option because the local school board has the authority to determine how many credits beyond the state minimum of 130 credits is required for a diploma. The state Ed Code requires a minimum of 130 credits in specific areas, such as English, math, science, social studies, and so on. The remaining 90 credits are at the discretion of the school board. When you see the differences between a 220 credit diploma and a 180 credit diploma, you'll see the differences in science, which is a decrease of 10 credits, or 1 year. Careers in technology, which is a decrease of 5 credits. Health, a decrease of 5 credits, and a decrease of 20 elective credits, totaling 40 credits in all. All other graduation requirements and guidelines remain the same. In the next section of the proposed new adult is the new adult education diploma. Since adult school is opening its doors next year, and MJUSD does not have an existing credit requirement for adult education, the board will need to set the requirement for a diploma. Like the traditional diploma or the alternative diploma, Ed Code requires a minimum of 130 credits in specific areas. MJUSD is recommending the board approve a 180 credit diploma. The diploma will match the required 130 credits plus an additional elective credits. I am available for any questions after this presentation. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Are there any questions? Comments? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next, we have 17.2, public hearing A through G completion improvement grant plan for MJUSD.
Good evening, Board of Trustees. I'm Alicia Wright, Coordinator of Innovations. Last meeting, we did the first read for the A through G completion improvement grant plan. And tonight is your opportunity for a second read to ask any questions and hopefully to approve the plan.
Are there any questions? Any questions from the audience? I believe we need a motion to close.
Motion to close the.
Okay. Motion
to approve. Excuse me.
Okay.
We got to do the second.
Okay. So we have a motion to close the public hearing by Frank Crawford and Jeff Boone seconded. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? 7-0. Now we have the approve and adopt the A through G completion improvement grant for MJUSD. Are there any questions that the board has? If not, do I hear a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Motion approved by Frank Crawford. Is there a second? Second by Jeff Boone. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Passes 7-0. Next, we have 17.4, public hearing A through G completion improvement grant for MCAA.
Hello again. Based on my presentation at the last meeting, I'm asking for public comments and approval of our A through G plan. I would like to point out in the agenda there is a mistake that when we approve, I would like to see amended. The total amount listed in the agenda is $75,000. And if you remember from the presentation, the total amount of the A through G completion grant for MCAA is $150,000. I just want to point out that.
It's 150?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Any questions? Do I hear a motion to close the public hearing? Motion to close by Jeff Broom. Is there a second? Second by Doug Criddle. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Passes 7-0. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Now we have the approval and adopt A through G completion improvement grant for MCA. Are there any questions from the board? If not, Frank Crawford has the motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Allison Hasty. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? 7-0. Now we have 17.6, public hearing, board policy 4156.2, awards and recognition. This is the second read. Are there any questions from the board for the superintendent or for Jennifer? If not, do I hear a motion to approve?
No. A motion to approve?
Hold it.
It's not an open forum. Oh, yes, it is. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's, yeah. Okay. Sorry.
And I'm already well aware of the fact that this is not going to be answered, but I'm just wondering if maybe as we move forward into future board meetings and such, that when you have an item on the agenda that says that it's for a public hearing, asking if the board members all have questions, and then moving on and saying, well, we're going to close the public hearing. This is the public. That's the board. So it'd be nice if the public actually got a chance during public hearings to ask questions. So question is, can we do that maybe from now on for future board meetings? Just a thought.
Thank you. Hear a motion to close the public hearing. There's a motion by Frank Crawford. Is there a second? Second by Gary Criddle. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? 7-0. 17.7, approval and adopt the board policy 5156.2, awards recognition. Do I hear a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Motion approved by Frank Crawford. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Randy Rasmussen. All those in favor say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? 7-0. Approved. That concludes our meeting.
Yuba-Sutter.live's local government live streams are presented by Plumas Lake Self-Storage in Plumas Lake, where lifelong local residents are helping other residents keep things safe, providing indoor storage units, outdoor RV and vehicle parking, moving supplies, and Penske truck rentals. Details at PlumasLakeSelfStorage.com.